New York Times reports DNC files federal election complaint against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Democrats accused Mr. Kennedy of illegally coordinating with a super PAC to get him onto the ballot in several states that could be critical to President Biden. I just want to give a shout out to RFK Jr., whether intentionally or not. We now have the Democrats being assailed on two fronts, and good. They say in a federal election complaint filed on Friday, and also know this, the reason they do this on a Friday is because they know people are not watching the news.
Yep.
Everybody's at the club right now, or they're playing billiards down at Long Shots off 340 in West Virginia, and so they're not paying attention to what's going on. They say the Democratic National Committee accused RFK Jr. and a super PAC backing his independent presidential bid of illegally coordinating on a $15 million petition drive intended to qualify him for the ballot in several states that could be crucial to Biden's reelection. The 11-page complaint to the FEC described the arrangement as an in-kind contribution to Kennedy's campaign by the super PAC American Values 2024, one that violated federal campaign finance laws and breached long-established financial barriers between candidates and outside groups. Well, I'll just say, okay, I'm going to read this. Quote, "This is an effort to subvert our election laws and prop up a stalking horse in RFK Jr., Liz Smith, a senior advisor to the DNC, said during a Zoom call with reporters." Was she looking in a mirror? Yeah, that's what they do. But I'll just throw it back to what I was saying. I am enthused. I am happy to see that the Democratic Party is panicking. Not just, just think about how bad things are. The immigration crisis is blowing up in their faces. Joe Biden was just basically ruled incompetent by the DOJ.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. is polling in the double digits and polling mostly from Democrats. And, well, Joe Biden's the only candidate they got at this point.
This is like this is an example of why centralized authority really struggles and why decentralized authority is where it's at. Why this country has thrived for as long as it has with statehood at the center. Because they're trying so hard. This party seems to be trying so hard to control things with the social media censorship, what they're doing with Twitter, and God knows what other corporations, the way that they're trying to sue him and stop that guy and file a lawsuit against them and make sure all these people go to jail. It's like they're floundering.
People don't really actually think of how much this administration has done that's just downright illegal. The Biden administration has been slapped down by the Supreme Court at least 2 times with 2 different cases. They have absolutely abdicated their responsibility at the border. It is clear that there is significant corruption in the Biden family. There's just been no prosecution because the Democrats don't get prosecuted. Now, this is the second time someone that's running for president the DOJ has decided to not prosecute them because of reasons, which really everyone knows they're Democrats, so it's different. It's the hierarchy thing, not the hypocrisy thing. Obviously, the DOJ goes after Donald Trump because not only is he a Republican, but he's outside of the bureaucracy and outside of the establishment Republican that might actually be able to change things. We have a uniparty that is trying to consolidate power now. People like Bill Kristol, who is has been a neocon war hawk forever. He's been wrong about literally everything. Listen, go back and look at all the stuff that he wrote about the Iraq war. Wrong. Bill Kristol, for some reason, has failed up, and people still listen to him in Washington, D.C. He's now a Democrat. He was a Republican all his life. He's now a Democrat. And there's just example after example after example of establishment Republicans that have gone to the Democrats or that sound like the Democrats because there is a uniparty trying to consolidate power.
But just think about how absurd it is right now that Donald Trump is being criminally charged over classified documents and Joe Biden was just ruled not competent to be charged over classified documents.
It's two Democrats have not been charged. 2 candidates for presidency have not been charged for classified documents. Hillary Clinton had a server in her home, completely and totally violated a ton of laws. And then Joe Biden had stuff stuck in his garage
and his office, and he said,
hit the garage that his kid, who is likely corrupted by China, who's been or Ukraine or any number of the governments that have been siphoning money to the Biden family, was staying at the house that all those classified documents were in during the entire time that COVID was going on.
But I'm not worried about a Chinese Communist Party member showing up to the Biden's house and like going in his garage.
No.
I'm more worried about like Hunter Biden in the garage and he calls his dealer and his dealer shows up and then he's just like,
got any rolling papers? And he's like, yeah, there's some in these boxes.
I need some papers for my car because my cat pissed. And he's like, just grab these. And then he throws them in the back to soak it up and then drives off. And then some guy finds it and he's like, yo.
If we had a legitimate government with a legitimate Justice Department, the entire Democrat Party would go to jail or at least be brought up on charges and there'd be investigations.
Here's a question. The documents they found in Trump's home were in a locked cabinet. And what had happened was the feds came first. I think it was like the feds came in and they were like, "Hey, if you're gonna have these documents, you got to lock them up." And he's like, "You got it." Locked them up. Came back later and they were like, "Hey, we got a warrant. We're gonna open this and see what you got in here." Biden's documents were unsecure and sitting in a garage, which means, however many they found, I think there's a strong possibility that many more were lost. It's possible for Trump as well, but I think something important people should consider. Trump's were in a locked place the feds had requested. Joe Biden's sitting in his garage. Let's say Joe Biden had 100 classified documents, and over the several couple of years, they get picked up, moved around, and then the only thing the feds found were 13 or whatever.
It's the double standard that's really the crux of the issue, that justice only goes one way. I think anybody at this point with eyes can tell that Democrats were living in the early stages of an attempted communist revolution. They want a one-party state. They want two-tier justice. They want a merger of big government with big corporation. And it's exactly like you said, Phil, the uniparty. We have one party of communists who call themselves Democrats, and we have another party of eunuchs who call themselves Republicans.
And don't get wrapped up, like, granted, it is what I would still call communism as well. But don't get wrapped up. It's not going to, like, when you look at it, it's not going to look like the Soviet Union. It's not going to look like China. It's going to look like the United States because that's the way that communism works. If you look at the Maoist Cultural Revolution in China, Mao himself said that communism in China was not going to look like communism in the Soviet Union. It was communism with Chinese characteristics, and that's the way that a socialist revolution will happen. In the United States, it's not going to be a peasant revolution like it was in China. China, the peasant revolution happened and they took over. But in other parts of the world, there have been revolutions where the urban people rise up because they're the factory workers and they're the people that are oppressed. So how the communist revolution goes depends on where it is. So don't get wrapped up in it doesn't look like any communist revolution that I've seen or whatever, because it's the ideology that matters.
It doesn't need to when they control everything.
Part of me is like, I'd hate to see that happen in the United States, but also part of me is kind of like, man, it would be a laugh riot sitting on the beach in El Salvador watching videos about how all these lefty commies are being gulagged by their own vote.
Well, I think
that's what you voted for, and sip on a coconut.
What would happen is they say that the revolution will not be televised. That's a phrase, kind of a funny tongue-in-cheek thing. But I think it's an economic digital revolution of economic. Like they're trying to centralize the banks so that they can turn off your central bank digital currency. So instead of going to a gulag, you're just not going to have any money, or you're only going to be able to buy the things that they allow your money to buy.
No.
That's the terrifying communist.
They're not going to lock you in a gulag. They're going to make it so that the only way you can earn money is by breaking rocks.
By doing the gulag doing what's needed. Yeah.
They're going to say the only job available to you now is in the quarry, and they're going to send you down there, and you're going to be breaking rocks because you chose to.
But if it was the kind of world where you could be like, well, I built this machine to break all these rocks, now pay me, and they're like, nope, we're going to take your machine. That's when it's gone a little too far.
No.
I think the whole thing's a little too far.
When they send you to break the rocks, Ian.
Well, they send you to go work for money. I mean, it's still kind of similar.
When the only way you can make money is breaking rocks, shit has gone way too far. It was gunfight time long before that. You don't do that kind of stuff. You don't allow your system to get to a place where you are the only thing you can do to produce an economic positive outcome for your life is.
Well, we got to clarify that. I mean, the forced government labor.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if the only
you're talking about gulags.
Right. So we're in this context, we're saying quite literally if they get buses, load people up and ship them off to internment camps.
What? What was that?
Yeah, we're not going to force you to go break rocks. It's just if you want food, that's the only way to do it. So
No.
good luck, figure it out.
No, but you can break rocks.
That is not how it goes, my man. That is not.
That's what they want to do. They
is
don't
what
want
they
to
wanna-
overtly be like,
So-
we are your slave master. They want you to have to feel like you have to do the slave work.
Right. So this is the point of central bank digital currencies. There won't be gulags. No one's going to show up to your house. No one's going to crack a whip. None of that. They're just going to be like, hey, you violated the rules, so we've suspended your account. And then it's going to be like your account is currently in a limited state. It's like, what does that mean? Well, here are the things that are available to you in order to earn revenue. And it's going to be things like sewage cleanup and stuff like
Or
that.
it'll be like pay money. Like it'll be like digital bail. If you can get someone to give you money to pay back your fine, then you'll get access to your crap again.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.